What's up, guys? For today's video, I'm going to go over one of the most important things, pretty simple thing, but that is determining support and resistance, and more further into depth on that, determining what true key levels are. And for me, the 5 minute, the 15 minute, I trade off the 5 minute, right? But the 15 can be some decent sized levels. The higher the time frame, the more valuable these levels are going to be. What I'm looking for are levels that have acted as both support and resistance. We can also use VPA over here on the side to get a better understanding of how important these levels are. But the more times a level is hit and used as both support and resistance, the more important that level is. So in this case, a lot of chop in here, right? But the first thing that really sticks out to me is this prior bounce off of 415. So 415 is going to be a very key level. Just throw this in here. Very basic to start. And what I'm looking for here are zones, right? The tops and bottoms of zones. I'm not all that worried about in between zones. There is one zone in here that I notice is pretty important, but we can also see it's going to be a bit more choppy in these areas where VPA nodes are higher. This means that more shares have been traded, therefore a choppier price action is probably going to happen. Once we get down into these lower zones, lower VPA nodes, price is going to move faster. So the levels that could give us the bigger moves are more spaced out. In this case, a very big level is definitely going to be down towards the bottom here, about 409.4. 409.25 is that really big level down here at the end. I like to use psych levels simply just because it helps me to visualize better. And it also helps to break down that information a little bit more, as does using the hourly chart. I create almost all of my support and resistance zones based off of the hourly chart. I find the 15 to be a bit too choppy. There can be a lot of noise in there. And the daily and the weekly are definitely important levels. But as a day trader, I'm more focused on plays where I'm only going to hold for maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes, sometimes 30 to an hour, just depends. But I'm more focused on those zones there. So in this case, another one that I noticed for sure is this low here, about 416.07. We retest up here right around 416 and then 415.95. So 416, another big level. Just using SPY here, this can work for any ticker. But SPY does respect those psych levels very, very well. And by psych levels, I mean the 0.00s, the whole numbers, the 0.25s, the 0.05s, the 0.1, the 0.5s, all that good stuff in there. All right, so then, we can zoom out, right? But as a day trader, taking a look at the true range, the ATR of the stock, can also help to give us reasonable price targets for the next day. One thing that really helps me with blocking out this noise and identifying these key levels is just taking my levels away from the prior days and reassessing my levels, because I think, the more lines that we have on a chart, the harder it is to really stay locked into those actually important, actually key levels. And in some cases, that makes us take profit too soon, or it could also create some false hope where we take a position based off of some level that really isn't all that key. In this case, another key level is the low here, 418.84. Throw that 418.85. As we can see, that's also the top of this, a little bit of a separation up here towards 419. I like that a lot. And then the low here at 420 is a massive level. 420, very, very big level there in terms of psych level as well. So these are some levels that I'm going to watch come tomorrow, which will be Friday. This video is going to be posted on the weekend. It's okay. Now, as you can see, these VPA nodes are a bit thicker in here, so we are going to have more levels of resistance, more levels of support. But once we get down lower, where price can move faster, the levels I really notice, 405.75 and 405, right? Two levels that we did try and bounce off of, but weren't all that successful. So this is a minor support down here at 405.75, and then that real support is down here at 405. Very big key level, very big psych level. Perfect. The type of trader you are also depends, what time frame you use, right? So swing traders are going to use those longer time frames, 4 hour, daily, weekly, stuff like that. Usually take entries based off the hourly. For a day trader, I like to use this hourly a lot to look at those PTs, and then I use the orb, that first 15-minute candle, as my support and resistance. I like that a lot. So let's just use, a ticker haven't traded in a while, AMD. We'll just throw on some lines, look at support and resistance, and look at where these key levels are. In terms of where I am looking for these price action, the last 10 to 15 trading days usually mimics support and resistance from way before. So as a day trader, I'm just going to use this hourly. 10, 20 days works perfectly fine, but the last 5 to 10 even work very, very well. In this case, these levels here definitely stick out. 94.75, so 94.7 right here, 94.7 again, our high 94.94. What's our low here? 94.85. So these levels, we've acted multiple times. They don't have to be exact levels per se. Most of the time, using those psych levels, it also helps to break down the 0.27s that could be in there, and around that 0.25 or 0.2, 0.3. Levels that stick very far down in this case, right over here at this 94.6, definitely very big levels, and ones that I notice, as well as ones that stick up like all-time highs. Those definitely are key levels. All right, so in this case, very key level here at 98. This is a retest level as well. This is also 97.9, it looks like, is our big level. So right about 98. We can also can use VPA to notice, the size of the level, right? In this case, very top of our VPA zone, right where we retest before falling down today. Over that, we do have a decent bit of range up towards these levels that have been acting as pretty decent resistance up here at 98.3, even higher 98.6, the lows 98.5. So those levels are definitely very, very big. That 97.90 definitely sticks out on the downside. This level here sticks out, a ton. 91.64, and the low here is 91.7. Our high 92.90, and our high here again 91.79, 91.46. So 91.7 is a very, very big level. This would be our retest, confirming that 91.64 that we bounced over here is a pretty good level. It's not going to bounce directly to the penny at all times, but using these levels where we did have a big drawdown and then a bounce back up are definitely key levels. In this case, that is below this VPA node here. Nice move, and we start to get back into another VPA node. Looking at this chart here, AMD is a little bit more in a choppy section, but can do the same things. I'm just looking for zones, right? So this zone right here, definitely a big one. I like this retest up here at 96.23. Let's see these. This low is 96.13. This high here is 96.23. So 96.25, a big level. Just using that psych level instead of trying to get direct to the cent lines. I'm just using these more as scaling, as I do use that orb, as I stated before, as my entry points for call and put triggers. The grand scheme of things, if we're using the 15 and the 10-minute chart, let's say the 10-minute here, 10-minute, it can work okay, but those lower time frames are going to work better for scalpers who are in there for maybe 1 to 2 minutes. Another rule is try to stay, whatever time frame you trade off of, try to stay 3 to 6 times that time frame away. So if you trade off of the 10-minute, the hourly is going to be great. The 30-minute can work as well. For me, I trade off the 5-minute, right? So the 15 can work all right, but using that hourly can give us more of a sense and cut out the noise that we don't really need. And that, in my case as well, can lead to both overtrading and also taking profits way too early, is worrying about these levels that really aren't all that important. Now I'll go back to a ticker I like to trade a lot, especially on smaller accounts, in NEO. Let's just Let's clear everything here. Flip over to the hourly and look at some zones again. So in this case, Neo fell through a very big support down here at 16.18, 16.16. We retested that. So 16.18 was that big level here. We did break below it and bounced off, didn't get a close below. If you notice where we bounce, right about 16.20, so right around that psych level there at 16.2 today before, tanking obviously more. Now in terms of tomorrow, what levels I'm going to watch, I like these levels down here, these lows at 1590. Let's see our retest. Retest 1587, so 15.9 is going to be a big one. And then on the low side, this hammer candle here, 1487. In cases like this, where we haven't seen these levels in a very long time, like to use the lows of either a hammer candle in this case, or whatever our retest is before ultimately falling down. We can also use a daily in this case, say, we're down towards all-time lows. In this case, it is a gap to fill, right? So these levels are going to be decent, but we're already under that. So this low here, 1382 is going to be okay, but 13 is the big level. I notice here, another big psych level. So on the daily, that level I like a lot. We also notice with VPA, we're starting to fall off this VPA node that was holding price action up. So we can move very, very fast down to that 13. We did get the gap fill today, so we'll see how price action responds to that tomorrow.